When you're fighting a good swordsman with Bojutsu, one of the techniques you have to use for defense is having a good offense, because they're going to keep trying to fill up the space with attacks. So you need to counter by also filling up space with a good attack. Hello, my name is Michael Glenn, and in this episode of the Dojo Show, we're studying the kata Gekiryu. Gekiryu allows you to crowd your opponent with attacks. You guys, this strike I was just doing was kind of the low strike, right to the leg maybe. Now I want you guys to practice coming high, okay, to the head, okay? So I'm doing the same move, but I'm coming up high where I would be striking the side of someone's head, okay? So, but the body mechanics are mostly the same, all right? Try a few like that. So originally when you start, your grip is even. The bow should be balanced even. So this hand is like 1/3 in, this hand is about 1/3 in. And then when you go for your strike, your hands slide so that the relationship changes. Okay? There you go. And then you bring it back. There you go. That sliding action adds extra leverage. Usually the bow stays close to your body. So as I pivot here, it stays close to my body. And it's more my legs doing the striking. This next one is a rising strike. So from here, I'm rising up. Okay? So you watch my hands here. I shift in my knee here. This comes on this straight line here, and then as I sink in my knees, this drops. Okay, so it all happens at one motion. Okay, so you see my finish point here. Okay, try this. Still let the stick slide, so start even here, and then watch as I step. This slides, so allow the stick to slide. If you want to get good at Bojutsu, that's something you have to get used to, letting the stick be free like that. And it's best to start at the beginning, doing it that way.
It's kind of tricky with this one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that one's long, yeah. Yes. Yeah, you can, with that one you can play also with standing up and then coming down. Yeah. This time I shift here, right? This hand comes up here and drops down. Okay. So again, as I shift, I bring this to the center line here and then let it drop. Okay, it drops with sliding. So one more time, I shift, this comes up, my hand slides here with my legs. Okay. This will be hitting down on top of the head or on the arms. So if you watch Eve for a second, so I slide here, I bring this up this way, and then it drops down. Let that hand slide though. So this hand, let it slide at the end. You're kind of, yeah. So you're sort of gripping that one. So what's happening with you is you bring it up here, and then this hand just stays. right? And instead you want it to slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Low here, okay? And then low there, okay? See, I have a much shorter stick than him, so I have to really push. Okay. So this time I'm going for the high strike, okay? So he's gonna block up high, okay? So it's like this, like this, like this. So if he doesn't block, right, come back here. If he didn't block for some reason, if he was too slow or whatever, my target is here, okay? So that's the angle and the height you're going, okay? But he's gonna block that, so we'll see what happens. So that we end up crossing like this, okay? Do this slowly because I don't think you guys have practiced this one a lot and I don't want anybody to get hurt. So start off slowly, okay? We're continuing with this Ihan Sabaki Gata that we've been working on, and this next kata is called Gekiryu. Okay, there's a few different ways to do it. There's one that I prefer, but the one I'm going to start with isn't the one I prefer. I'm just going to show it because it's one that you see sometimes. Okay, come this way a little bit, please. So I start off here in seigan. He's also in seigan. Here I ski this way, and then I do a strike up to the head this way. Okay, then I change my position, come through here. This is also a ski, and then strike to the head. Okay, so from seigan here, I thrust, okay? The next move is to the head. I switch sides here, come up for the hands, but this turns into a thrust. And then the last is to the head, okay? So from here, my initial ski is to the body here. The next piece, I'm gonna let the bow rotate like this, okay? But I do it with my legs. So I come here and I rotate up top. Then I switch sides, okay? So now my right foot is forward. Jesse, please. So now my right foot is forward. And if he doesn't move, this attack is to the hands. Okay? So if James doesn't move, I'm attacking the hands here, which would obviously knock his sword away. But he's going to try to move, right? So then when he's here, then it turns into a thrust. Okay, and then the last one to the head. Okay?
Tai Chi up north. It was very different. It's a very rare form, but probably he didn't have any competition. This lady was her husband was in the Chinese political.
So I want to talk about a couple details with this, right? So from seigan, like I've said before, when I thrust, I don't want to necessarily choose one side or the other because that makes it easy for him to block. So if I try to thrust to this side, he can guess and block that way, right? If I try to thrust to this side, same thing, he can guess and block. What I'd like to do instead is I thrust right down the middle towards his sword, okay? So by doing that, he can't guess which side it's going to go on, nor can I, for that matter. I'm just going right down the middle, and then it'll hit him, right? But that makes it really hard for him to guess and block. He'll be very confused. Did you feel the confusion there? Yeah. So this first move, I do that, right? I do that thrust, and you block that, right? And so then the next move from here, depending if it came on this side, it's a little harder for me to get to the head now. So I want to change my footwork, okay? So what I would do is do a step out and cross step to get to the temple here, okay? And it goes with this rolling motion. So from here, I cross step out, and then I'm to the head, okay? Then the next move, I switch here, okay? And I come to his hands, and this turns into a thrust, right? And then lastly, to the head on that side. This is new for Eve, so I'm taking it easy on him. Coming straight down the middle here. See how it ended up on the other side that time, right? So then I come around the sword, okay? So come back. So if it ends up on this side, I use this to come around the sword, okay? So it goes around the sword there, switch sides. This turns into a thrust, last to the head. You see how each move sets up the next, Okay? I do this thrust, I do this strike, I come back here, this is a thrust. The last one is to do. So from here I do my ski this way, this is to here. When I switch here, there's my ski. Okay, and then the last one is to do. Same kata, just different ways of doing the strikes.
So those two strikes you're combining, kind of?
Yeah, so here I do my ski, this strike comes up high. As I switch feet, my ski is here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then the last one is to do. In the original version I did, right, I'm here, I do this strike. As I come here, there's this and a ski, right? This version, I do my ski, come to the head. This is lifting, but it's also a ski. So from seigan, I do my ski. This is to the head still, right? Here is this thrust, okay? And then here to do. That's it, Jesse. Jesse, when you do that, add the, after this strike to the head, right? When you do this part, add in the thrusting.
Yeah.
So it rises like this, but it also at the same time thrusts. So it's doing both,
I
right?
thought it was you hit kote and then thrust.
Yeah, well, it's doing that, but it's just doing it at the same time. So if stay still so I don't hurt you. So as it rises here, it hits kote, right, and then thrust. Yep. He's being very stiff there, so yeah.
I'm trying to show him the mechanics of that step back.
Oh, sure.
But I don't, it's hard to...
So yeah, after this strike, right, as I step back, that's where it goes. In this case, I'm not aiming for kote because he's a little stiff right now. So.
Go ahead, one more, and do the next one too.
Oh, sure.
Show that where it goes.
Let me do the whole thing for you. Eve, can you stand there for a second? So from here, I do my thrust, strike up here, this thrust through, right, and then the last one is here. Yeah. It goes around to the ribs to do. Yep. Okay. Eve, on that second strike, just make sure you get them all right. So this first one thrusts. The second one, I use this in a rowing motion.
Okay.
This backhand, it rows like this, and I go to the head. Okay. So after the thrust, right, this rows around to go to the head. Okay. So from here, I do this thrust. This is up to the head, right? This, you see how it's keeping him away, right? And then that last one is there. So that thrust is meant to keep him away, right? The rising part of it will, for back here, this rising part will hit the hands, right? But the thrusting part keeps him away, right? So you want to do both of those things. This time I'm starting in my seigan on this side, okay? We've been starting on this side, right? So this time I start on this side, this way. And when I do my thrust, I'm going to cross step, okay? You see how James reacted there, yeah? It's a little frightening. So from here, right, I do this cross step this way, okay? Now I come up top here, like that, okay? Then this flip happens here. From here, I cross step, come in. This thrust here. See how that pushes him away from me, right? And then the last one is the same as we've been doing. Okay?
Do it one more time?
Yes, James, maybe this way. So I'm on the opposite side here, right? I do my ski. Oh wait, I do the ski with a cross step here, right? You see James's position there. Okay, here, and then this last one is around the head to do. Okay? Similar to, some of the moves are similar, but it's starting on the opposite side. So you do your ski, strike in, thrust, around the head to do. Hey James, try to free it up a bit, right? So this one, I'm here with Jesse, right? I do my ski the same way as we've been doing. So there's this, with the cross step, sorry. So this way, see what that cross step does? So he can block all he wants. It's he can't stop it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go back this way. So I'm here in the seigan, and I've just nailed him.
Hey, do that again.
Yeah. So
Why can't I block that?
there's two things going on here with that. Like, it's my cross step, but I'm also still aiming down the line at the sword. So he can't guess where to block. So after that first one, right? So if you watch me for a second. So after this first one here, right? I'm gonna use this end of it to bring his sword out of the way and come there. When you're doing this kind of sabaki, this kind of footwork, this whole thing turns more circular, okay? And you want to keep that form in mind as you're moving through it. So right here, we're kind of linear, right? And his sword is actually in my way for me to advance. My bow is in his way for him to advance, okay? So for this ski to advance, I start coming around this arc, okay? You see how I've arced around part way here. Okay, so then this next piece that comes in is there, and I've arced around more. This thrust, I've arced around some more. This last one, you see, I finished almost 180 from where I was. Okay, let's go back this way, James.
I'm telling my mom on you.
Okay, good. Is she around so I can? Yeah, watch this. So here, right, and then this strike is here. Okay, this next one is here. Okay, and then this last one here. Okay, I gave him a good hit for his mom there. All right. So this arcing sabaki, this footwork is very important in this kata to have that kind of freedom. Okay, so try it again with that feeling. James, let it be free so you can get those targets, right? And that last one is do, right?
Is it zigzag, like circle? Like
No.
Back and forth.
No, I was going 180. So Jesse, here, please. So from here, my first ski here, right? Next move here, next move here, last one here. Okay. Yeah. So you see, I end up 180. 180 from where I started. In this time when you try it, I don't care which version you do, but I want you to play with the connection, okay? So the connection you have through the space here and to your opponent, I want you guys to work with that. So from seigan, it starts in my kamae here, the connection. So in this stance, in this kamae, there's already a connection that's established. Okay, so as I move, I'm keeping that connection alive, okay? I stay connected through the space. This is an important detail in all of the Bujinkan, everything we do. And it takes time to sort of develop the ability to do that. With the bow, you're at a long range, so your connection has to cross a lot of space. When we're doing grappling, you're physically in contact, so that connection is easier to get your mind around, right? So from my seigan here, when I thrust, I still maintain that connection. So I've kept it, okay? I'm connected to James. So from this position, I can do a lot of things because of that connection. I can change my attack. I can feel what he's gonna do and counter him. There's so much that can happen just through that connection. So I cross step here, right? You see that strike there? Is possible? That comes through the connection, okay? So I can easily attack Kote there, even if he's blocked, okay? So again, a little bit this way. So I thrust here. So I'm keeping this connection alive. So before, what I was doing is I was using that to sweep this aside and come up here, okay? But it can do a lot of things. Once more. So here, it can come down there and attack there. Okay, so now he's kind of at my mercy, right? Let's go back this way. So that connection you can use it at any point in the kata. So if I do this thrust here and I come around here, now I'm connected again. Okay? I never broke the connection.
You keep a certain space. Is it a connection between the two weapons, or?
No, it's a connection. This is very hard to define, and it sounds esoteric, but it's a connection with spirits, like through the space. So his presence, his humanity, his spirit, whatever you want to call it, my presence, my humanity, my physical presence in the space, those things are connected. Okay, and Sensei takes it even farther, and he talks about being also connected to the universe. Okay, this is something he makes reference to all the time. It gets really esoteric, right? And it's maybe beyond the scope of this class, but we're touching on that now with this piece. Okay.
So, what's an example of connection versus not connection? Is it something that you're feeling?
Well, what happens not connected is a different feeling, right? So when people are working on kata, a lot of times they become disconnected because they're trying to remember steps.
Yeah.
So there would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. That was very disconnected. Those 4 things that I just did, because I was going through the motions, trying to learn the steps, and he didn't matter. Like, he wasn't part of the equation. It was just me trying to learn the steps, right? So it's very disconnected. When it becomes alive and there's a connection, then the steps don't matter. The steps of the kata no longer are relevant. Okay, and that's advanced, and it's hard to get your mind around. But this is the last piece, and we're gonna work on that. So one more. So I do my thrust here. I come through here, right? I'm staying connected through all of this, right? So now as I drop this, you see that one. Sorry, James. Back over there.
I feel that connection.
So I thrust here, I come through this way, right? So this front end, I'm keeping it connected. So I'm going to let it drop and come through there.
My mind's been a bit scattered tonight, so no, it's really cool. It is, yeah.
I never allow him room to breathe. Sensei talks about it like you're throwing a net over an animal, right? And you don't give it any space to escape. After this strike here, I can feel anything that James is thinking about. I don't even have to look. I can just feel it, right? So if he was to decide to try some kind of counter, right, I can pick that up without having to jump or try to defend. It's just natural movement through the connection. Yeah. But it takes practice to develop that. So I want you guys on this last one to try to feel that, right? And it doesn't mean you need to speed up or anything. You can still go very slowly. Just try to keep that connection present.